Yeah, I just can't see John. I'm pretty sad about it. I'm probably gonna be bummed out this whole time. I'll do the whole podcast like this.
Yeah, but
whatever.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have tuned yourself into another episode of Music the Lifeblood's Conversations from the Pit. I am your very humble host, Dustin. Join with me, as always, the stop making Morrissey jokes to my no, John Carter.
Oh, you just haven't earned it yet, baby.
I know, right?
You just haven't earned it yet, baby.
And then the shocking another return. The sequels that everyone keeps wanting. It's he's the I have my anger under control to my I don't even actually love you. My older brother Derek.
I got it all under control. Everything's cool. Don't worry.
See,
don't worry.
Derek once broke a pool stick over someone's forehead, so I'm just going to let that hang in the air. John, what are we talking about?
The beautifully baseless and justice for all.
All right, so I'm going to get it out now. This album sounds like garbage, and nothing anyone ever says is going to change my mind.
Fuck off.
There you have it. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
It's not near as bad as some of that bullshit you sent me last week.
Listen. All right, okay. So good. All right, good little peer into the belly of the beast. So I do a new music march with like a select group of people every year. It's invite only. It's very exclusive. And it's a month long, every day of March, me just assaulting you with music that is either new or new to you. And I've sent Derek some doozies the last week or so. And there have been a couple where I am not exaggerating. Pissing and moaning is a good way to describe it.
It was shit. There's a couple bad ones, man.
But you're broadening your horizons. Now this week you're going to get battery dumped on you, and we'll see how you act then.
I'm sure I'll love it. I'll fucking love it.
When you said pissing and moaning, I thought of like bands like Shinedown and Hinder, where it's like sad boy rock.
Stained.
Yeah, sad boy rock.
Yeah, post grunge. That's where it's at. That's amazing. All right. So let's get down to business. Hot take. All right, what's everyone's just off the cuff thoughts? Derek, you go.
This was my very first exposure to Metallica. So I loved it. I loved the whole album. I had no idea about Cliff being dead and the whole bass bullshit. I had no clue about any of that when I first heard this album. And I listened to this album and this album alone for probably 6 months. It's all I listened to. Yeah. And I loved it. I loved all of it.
Yeah.
This album is a theme song to many drawings that I've done. Remember when I stayed up all night long?
Yeah. I mean, your first year of college, I remember it especially because I remember going to that art show I think it was at the end of your first year, and I remember the mosquito.
The hornet. It's a hornet.
Hornet. There you go. Yeah. I remember it. I remember it clearly. So Carter, what do you got?
It was kind of like what Derek said. It was it was sort of my introduction. Well, I guess sonically my introduction, because I had already known about them from seeing ads in like Thrasher magazine, you know, and seeing like the cassette single for One had art by Pusshead on it.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
I remember seeing an ad for that, and then the video for One on MTV, and I was blown away. I loved it because it was just like, you know, I hadn't seen a video from a band like that. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, well, this song is long. You know, I'm like, that was just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, this song is long, but like, I have to like it. Cause I mean, cause I was so used to like the 3 minute long Kiss and Motley Crue songs, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yep.
And then, cause I remember, probably it was the winter, it was probably like this December after it came out. Cause I think it came out in September, I believe, I want to say. And I went to a mall in Council Bluffs, Iowa, right outside of Omaha, and I bought the cassette and just, you know, just heard the song One, and me being a skateboarder, you know, and just kind of like, you know, kind of getting into heavier music. It was just like, it was like my mission to go and buy Metallica and Justice for All,
Sure.
you know? And so I remember turning it over and looking at it, and there was like, you know, like four songs on each side. It was, you know, I'm like, this is gonna be a super short album. And on the way home, it was like an hour and 15-minute, you know, some change drive from Council Bluffs to Sioux City. And I listened to the whole thing on my Walkman. And as we were pulling up to the house, the album ended. And I was just like, Jesus, this is a long fucking album. But
Yeah.
I remember I really liked it. But one thing I remember was there was like the not the bass as in the bass guitar, but like the bass, it was like a lot of woo, 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 you know, on some of the chug, like palm muted chug parts.
Overtime.
And yeah, and it was like, you know, like people say that it quote unquote sounds like garbage, but at the same time, I remember thinking this is like a very unique sounding album, because the album I got into like heavy duty before that was Faith No More's The Real Thing. And, you know, I remember thinking, okay, yeah, they came up in the Bay Area. And that's one of the reasons why I got into Metallica, is because they were part of that Bay Area thing. And Cliff Burton was friends with those guys and stuff like that. So I kind of knew a little bit about that. But yeah, I had never really heard any Metallica music until I got that. And then right after that, I got the 598 EP. And I mean, I was totally blown away, but it was weird. It was kind of like, I liked it, but it was hard to like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was really, I had to teach myself to really like it, because there was parts I loved about it, but then there was parts I was like, this goes along with it, so I got to learn to live with this section of it. And then after a while, I was just like, I loved the album, and I got burnt out on it, and I literally stepped away from that album for almost 10 years, because right after I got that, I got Master of Puppets and then Ride the Lightning, and I never went back to Justice except for on occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek has a long love affair with this album, and I think Derek ruined it for me. I'm sorry, but like,
no, it's okay, because I literally did not listen to anything except this album.
Yeah, when Derek's probably his last year at home. So I'm 7 years younger than Derek. So Derek's 19-ish. So I'm just about to hit teens, and I'm discovering new music. You know, heavier bands, Black Sabbath. I had figured out already. I was aware of Judas Priest. You know, blah blah blah. And Derek played this nonstop. Now, granted, Derek's an artist and he's in tune creatively. So once you get a artistic trigger, you know, there's a lot of people that they want to stay near to that, so because it helps them. You know, it's fuel. Mm-hmm. But you know, I have Dad's stereo. So our dad bought a stereo in 1972. From the J.C. Penney in downtown Hartford, and those speakers are what I would consider the best sound system I have ever heard. Old school, you know, fuse You know, the coils in them are amazing. It's just an odd, the response with the subs are great. And I remember listening to this album on Dad's stereo that Derek had handed down to him in his art room, where he would work in his first year of college. And I remember loving the songs, but I remember thinking, Derek, please turn that off. This sounds like shit. And it was because I had been exposed to Dokken, the 80s Kiss catalog, Motley Crue, that sort of stuff, where the production is much more balanced. This, I will agree. Some of these songs, there's potential for them to be some of the best in Metallica's catalog. Eye of the Beholder, Harvester of Sorrow, one's a really good song, obviously, but this album just fucking crashes and burns on the mix alone for me. It is just obnoxiously unlistenable to me at this point. So what I do, where I'm at with it, is there's numerous uploads on YouTube of enhanced bass, that sort of thing. But there's specifically this dude, it's called the Bass Channel, but it's a video version of him playing Jason's parts to the entire album. And that is the only version of Injustice for All that I will listen to now.
Plays the whole thing with his fingers, doesn't he? On that?
Yep.
Yeah. It sounds great. But at the same time, man, like, I understand I don't know, like, I could say comparatively to, like, you know, a really good, like, Dokken, like, what's the one that's got Dream Warriors on it?
Attack for the Attack.
Yeah, that is my favorite Dokken album, like, production wise.
Sure.
And if you listen to that, and then if you listen to like Judas Priest Ram It Down, and then if you listen to like Kiss Crazy Nights, then And Justice for All will sound like hot garbage, like absolutely. But my thing was, I liked how weird it sounded, because to me, I thought it gave it a cool element of kind of like danger. And it was like, I was like, okay, it's supposed to sound like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I got used to it, and my ears acclimated to it, you know, quickly. But at the same time, there was a point where I reached critical burnout with this album, like big time.
Yeah. Derek, you never have.
No, I still haven't got burned out on this album. I just like it. It was my very first exposure to Metallica, and it was so much different than what I had been listening to, especially at that time, because at that time I was really into like hip hop stuff and R&B stuff, and so I heard this, and it was so much different.
Right.
And I just latched onto it, and I think part of the reason is some of the nostalgia too, because it did, when I was working in my studio, it put me in a flow state, and I would paint for hours on end and forget to eat and forget to go to bed and forget. I mean, I mean, so I think some of the psychology of that album has to do with that, of me not getting burned out on this album.
So
But
just from an audiophile standpoint, real quick, you were pretty much always listening to it on Dad's stereo, right?
yeah, with those big ass synergistic speakers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, that's what I listened to. And well, the CD players at the time, I don't know how great they were, but when we got that CD player and I bought that CD, there was stuff that I had not heard before from like the cassettes and stuff. So that was another reason why, to me, it sounded fantastic. Like, I don't have any of that, oh, this album sounds like garbage. Now, somebody said a little bit ago, when I started listening to this, then I went back, like we always do. We go back and try to find what other stuff is there. When I listened to Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, now those albums, there's obviously a huge difference. And I haven't listened to this album forever. Now, Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, especially Master of Puppets, that's probably my favorite Metallica album. I've listened to far more than I've listened to this, but I still like this album. I like all the songs. But I think that probably has something to the nostalgia of this album. You know, music takes us to places, and you have memories based on songs.
Oh yeah, your personal timeline is huge.
Yeah, so it's gigantic. So I think that plays a huge part of why I like this album so much.
Right. It's hard to separate yourself from that, objectively. It's funny because like I do Vinyl Thursday, and Vinyl Thursday is a mix of old, mix of new, I don't think I like the catchphrase anymore. So anyway, so I spend there is in metal, there is a very pronounced and what I would say a necessary element that runs, it's a thread that runs through a lot of metal, that lo-fi production is not a bad thing. And this, and there's a difference between lo-fi production and shit production.
Yeah, because you can get a super well produced album with a bad mix.
Yes, and this is it. This is the one. I think. Look, I'll probably to the last. Master of Puppets is, in my opinion, the top of the heap for the band, and right behind that, Ride the Lightning.
Ride the Lightning, for sure.
And then everything else. I don't. This album had, based on songs alone. Now, granted, they need to fucking end some of these songs 3 minutes earlier than what they do. But the strength of the songwriting here, obviously they're on a progressive tangent, and just cramming the actual composition full of just whatever they can fit in there. But from just the meat and potatoes of the songs, this has potential to give, in my opinion, Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning a run for its money. But I think the way the album started. So I don't know, Derek, do you have any knowledge of kind of the lore behind the album?
I don't. The only thing that I've ever heard was and after the fact about the bass bullshit.
The mix. Okay, yeah. So John and I were talking about this before you got on the call. We were talking off mic about, John and I were talking about Mike Klink being slated to have produced the album originally, and they worked with him for a minute, a couple weeks, I think. Mike Klink is the guy that produced Appetite for Destruction, and the Megadeth connection too, because he helped on Rust in Peace. So Carter, what you and I were talking about earlier, that's probably the connection right there. Yeah. So but the album didn't start off well, and I don't think the middle part of it was any better, even though they had brought, that's not even a word. They had brought Flemming Rasmussen on to help finish the album, and he had worked on Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, obviously. And I don't think, I've read studio theories and I've heard some cool interviews with Steve Thompson regarding the mix. And to me, I just don't see Fleming not miking a full sounding drum kit for one. And he wasn't present for the mix of this album. It was left up to Steve, and I think there was another assistant engineer or assistant mixer or whatever it was to get it mixed. And Lars was coming in saying, take the bass down. I want my drums to sound this way. Lars had shown up with notes regarding how he wanted his drum EQ'd and that sort of thing. And the legend seems to point to Lars being the one that made the final call on the mix.
Well, I watched an interview recently from 2018 where David Fricke, you know who that is, like the journalist for Rolling Stone, I believe.
Yeah, with the really bad haircut.
Yeah, the glasses and you know, the skeleton face, and he was interviewing all of them, and basically what Kirk and James and Lars all admitted to was when they went in and said, hey, you know, James, you know, this is what we got. You know, what do you want? I want, you know, bring my guitar up here or whatever, like balance me out with Kirk, da-da-da. Okay, cool, whatever. Then they said, hey, Kirk, come in. What do you want? Okay, bring up my solo here, da-da-da. And then they got like Lars to come in and go, yeah, I like the way that these guys right here, I don't want to be playing over top of Kirk's solo, so go ahead and do this. Okay, so they talked to those three, but they didn't bring Jason in and go, hey, what do you think of this, and this, right? So basically, I don't know if there was a time crunch or whatever, but like when all of that was done, it was like Jason really didn't have a say. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to push him out. We're going to push him out of the mix. It was like, we worked on these parts of the album, but we neglected the bass.
Yeah.
And, well, you know, that was basically it.
The thing to keep in mind is that Jason's bass wasn't even tracked with anyone else there. It was just Jason and one of the engineers.
Yeah.
And it was almost treated like it was an afterthought. And, you know, we can confirm this, you know, just from general knowledge of the band and the history of the band, that Jason didn't get treated really well.
Oh, and that's one thing that's one thing that James actually said in the interview. And then so did Kirk. And they said, yeah, we didn't treat him well. We were still hurting from the loss of Cliff. And then even Lars chimed in. He goes, I'll be the first person to admit that, like, I needed a punching bag, or I needed someone to kind of like, sort of like not blame, but kind of like push around.
He was kind of a scapegoat for sure.
Yeah. That's the word I was looking for.
I had heard some bullshit too, where they, and I think it was kind of an afterthought where they tried to kind of sugarcoat things. That I had heard the guy saying that the absence of bass was on purpose because Cliff was gone, so they were trying to show that in the song. Cliff missing was represented in not having bass on this album.
You ask 100 different Metallica members, and you're going to get 100 different reasons.
Sure,
I've heard in the past that James and Lars's ears were shot from being on tour. So they couldn't hear a good mix. But I've also heard that, you let the drummer and the singer guitarist do the mix. What do you think you're going to get? You know?
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, there's almost an element of tragedy to this album because that is an overriding theme within Jason's tenure within the band, just tragedy. Because Jason could have been so much more, you know what I mean? It could have been just so much more. Because when I was a kid, when I was young, Jason was my guy in the band. He was the one I was like, yeah, he's badass.
I was the same way, yeah.
You know, creeping death. You know, it was awesome when Jason would get to sing a verse here and there or whatever the case was. It's just so damn sad. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, Jason.
Yeah. James Hetfield has actually said or alluded to in a lot of interviews that if he had been the sober person he is now back then, that he knows for a fact he wouldn't have treated Jason that way. Yeah. You know? Because think about it, like James is the rhythm guitar player. And
he's more than the rhythm guitar player though, because at that point Kirk wasn't tracking rhythm.
Yeah.
Kirk was only tracking leads up through, I believe, the Black Album.
But the thing of it is, he is, technically speaking, in the lineup of Metallica, the rhythm guitar player. So he had been playing rhythm along with Cliff for the longest time, right? And I have had some theories that maybe James was so afraid that him and Jason wouldn't click that he kind of like sort of made it easier for him to not have to worry about that. You know what I mean? But
just distance himself on purpose.
Yeah. But I mean, you watch the Live Shit Binge and Purge from Seattle concert. It's fucking phenomenal. And like Jason and James are fucking in lock. They're in sync so well, and it sounds so fucking great. And it's just kind of like, I was watching it with my son not too long ago, and I was like, imagine, like if the bass was played and sounded like it is here on the album on some of these songs.
Yeah, that's it. Derek, do you own the Live Shit Binge and Purge box set? Do you have it?
No, I don't. Not the box set.
Or did I just have a copy of it floating around? Was that me?
Well, I think that I bought that. It might have just ended up at your house. Like so many.
That's what you get.
Many other CDs. So Dustin's MO was like, "Hey, can I borrow that?" Sure, yeah. But he would borrow that and like 3 other ones, and then they just don't make it back to my house.
And then you see them at Indie CD and vinyl used in the fucking $1 bin.
No. What happens is I'm at his house and I'm looking through all the CDs and I'm like, oh, I have that. I used to have that. And then he'll like side eye me and say, oh yeah, that's yours.
I know. I can look through my shelves and I know exactly they're well taken care of.
And I don't worry about it. I know where they are.
They're meticulously maintained. How about that? The two CD set of The Doors. I still have your copy of that, and I think I took it when I was probably 16, 17.
Well, was it the VHS with the CDs that you had, or what version of Live Shit Binge and Purge did you guys
I think
have?
I just had CDs. I remember having the CDs of live stuff. I don't want to go in the other room and dig for it because it's going to take forever, but I think I just had CDs, and I think maybe a rummage sale or something.
Damn.
Maybe bought them used at Karma, or I don't know, but I wound up with them because the dick rash sticks in my head.
Yep.
That.
Well,
I'll put in a here dick rash. Dick rash.
Yep.
There you go.
That's awesome. Well, his ad libs on that concert are so great. And you ever notice, like, isn't it Harvester of Sorrow or Eye of the Beholder, where they just fuck up and they don't finish the song, and then they go into like something off of Kill 'Em All.
Oh, I don't know. It's been a while since I've watched it.
Yeah,
the one thing from that I always make it a point to listen to or watch when it comes up is Creeping Death. It's a really good version. It's too fucking fast, but it's still a really good version.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, that concert's like almost 3 hours long, and my son, like he was watching that right now. Like, it's funny. Speaking of our topic, I hadn't really fucked with the And Justice for All album in years until like this, like last spring. My son started collecting records, and so I bought him like. What did I get him? I got him And Justice for All and Ride the Lightning and a couple of like Iron Maiden albums and stuff. And like he got me back into And Justice for All, and I've got it on 180 gram double vinyl, and it sounds fucking amazing. And like I listened to it with over the ear headphones on. And I listened to it like, through the speakers in my living room. I got a pretty good stereo in there. And I actually have a new love and new interest in the album, and I hear stuff I didn't hear before, and that's what's really great about an album that's that long. You're going to hear stuff you haven't heard before.
Yeah. True. Derek, did you saw him on the Black Album, right?
So did I.
Both of you did?
Yeah.
Okay. was Derek was at Fort Wayne?
No, that I took you to Indianapolis. That's when Market Square Arena was still there.
But no, you and our cousin went to Fort Wayne though.
Yeah, I saw them in Fort Wayne, and then you and I saw them in Indianapolis.
Okay, all right, got it.
Because Corrosion of Conformity opened up, and I was remember we missed the fucking turn on the exit, and we had to go all the way back around 465, and we missed most of COC, and I was pretty pissed about that.
Yeah, but that was during Load, right? That was during the tour for Load and Reload, because they played.
It was Load.
The guy fell on fire from the light truss.
Yep.
That's when we saw Rick Smits, wasn't it?
Yeah, Rick Smits. Yeah.
Yeah. He was the Pacers. He was the Pacers center forever. It was just weird because Derek and I were sitting there just shooting the shit, and somebody went, "Hey, it's Big Rick."
Yeah, everybody kind of got real excited. I was like, "What the fuck's everybody all pumped up about?" And he was like, "It was like 10 feet in front of us." I was like, "Holy shit, that's Rick Smits."
He was massive. He was a mountain of a man.
Yeah, he was a big dude.
But so when both of you guys saw them, Derek, you saw him on the Black album. Was Justice pretty well represented in the set list?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. I wonder what the playthrough of the album is. I wonder if it's anywhere near 100%. Like, I don't think I've ever seen him play. Oh shit! What's the last song? Dyer's Eve. I don't think I've ever seen him play Dyer's Eve. Doesn't mean they haven't, but I don't think it's.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they played Blacken, and of course they played One, and I want to say that they played The Shortest Straw and also Injustice.
But you saw him on the Black album too, John, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where at?
Omaha, Nebraska.
How was it?
It was awesome, but what sucked about it is the place was too small for them to do it fully in the round. You know what I mean? So it was like I guess it was it a triangle or was it like a 5-sided thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
I just remember that one side of it was pushed against the back wall, and I'd seen Kiss there, I'd seen the Clash of the Titans tour there, I'd seen a bunch, so it was kind of like set up with like a theater kind of vibe, right? But this was definitely in the round with the snake pit and stuff, but it was just like part of it was pushed to the back wall of the stadium, and it was awesome. I could not get up front to save my fucking life because there was just like a combination of huge circle pits and then a bunch of like random like jock type dudes just standing there drinking, kind of trying to have like a little tailgate party like in the pit. You know what I mean? They had their sections and their areas where like I'm standing here with my girl and our boys are here, and there was definitely like, you know, some sort of version of social distance going on, and then you get about like 10 rows from the edge, and it was just fucking just like such a thick layer of people. So I was probably about 20 rows back the whole time watching them. And I remember Jason did Whiplash. I remember the beginning of For Whom the Bell Tolls was stretched out. And they did a couple of cover songs, I believe. I don't remember. I mean, I don't remember because at the time, if they did a Metallica, or I'm sorry, if they did a Motorhead song, or if they did like a, Diamond Head song other than, Am I Evil or whatever, I wouldn't have known. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know any of that music back then, But I remember very vividly because I went with none of my closest friends were going, but these random like stoner dudes I knew and their chicks were going, and I bought a ticket. I went with them. We went, and one of the guys had a brother that was in the Army. We went to his barracks while they pre-gamed, and then they drank in his barracks, and then we left the barracks, and then we went off the side road where they wanted to drink some more, and then we were almost late to the fucking show, and I was still, I was straight edge back then too, So I'm just sitting there and like, okay, yeah, I know these people from school. What the fuck's going on? Why are they just drinking and drinking and drinking? And then we get in line, and then I see some friends of mine I knew like from Omaha and from some other towns like that. So I link up with them, and these people that I'm there with, they bailed, went inside, and after I walked in with my friends that I knew from the other town, I didn't see any of the people that I came with, right? And then at one point in time, I saw one of them walk past me in the bathroom. I'm like, all right, hey, we're over there. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm standing there, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna go out and meet up with everybody. I get outside, don't find the people that I'm with at all. can't find them anywhere. The guys that I knew from another town, like, hey man, do you need to give it?
Wait, John, wait, hold on a second. The look on your face, Derek, did you get to see it? Did you see the look on John's face?
I'm sure it was
no.
It was
no, I still can't can't see him.
This is my impression.
Dude, that's literally dude. Okay, so I'll try to make this story as short as possible. So I'm out there, and like the guys that I knew from the other town, they're like, hey, do you need us to give you a ride? It's like, you live a half an hour away from us. I'm like, no, I came here with this group, right? So I'm looking around. I'm fucking like 15 years old,
right?
16 years old, and everyone's gone. I'm standing outside the front of the Omaha Civic Auditorium. There's cops on horses. There's cabs. And like it's gone. The fucking like the semis for the Metallica are pulling away, and I'm in downtown Omaha, Nebraska, by my fucking self. And Omaha, Nebraska, it gets joked on by people like it, but it's a city. I mean, there's hookers, fucking homeless people, da da da. So I'm like, I walk down to this. I remember very, very vividly. It was the Red Lion Inn, which was this hotel downtown. And I go in there and I call my dad. My dad worked in Omaha, but he commuted. So I called his office, and he had just left. So he drove an hour and a half from Omaha back home. So I had to wait in the lobby of this hotel for my dad to come back and get me. And it was a fucking nightmare, dude. I thought I was going to get fucking stabbed. And what's even better about it is I'm sitting there in the lobby, and I'm like laying on the couch, and a guy walks by and goes, "You can't sleep in here." I'm like, "I'm waiting for a ride. If you're going to sleep in here, you got to leave." It was fucking November. It was cold as shit. And it was just like, I remember it was the week of Thanksgiving, right? And so I'm sitting there trying to stay awake. And then my dad finally shows up, right? And what's even more funny is I'm wearing this shirt that has Metallica misspelled on it because I bought it from a bootleg guy, and it was the Black Album. It had the fucking 4 faces on the front, right? And it was like Metallica. I mean, it was like literally with one L, and I spent like $12 on it. And then what was the biggest clincher is like, I was gonna go pit. I was like, I'm gonna fucking mosh. So I left my watch and my wallet in the car with the people I came. So I'm in the fucking venue with no money, no wallet, no ID, nothing. And this was back in the day where you memorized phone numbers, right?
Right.
So I knew my dad's office phone number, yada, yada. But so I'm in the fucking, the big city of Omaha, Nebraska, no wallet, no money, no nothing, just waiting in a fucking bootleg Metallica shirt. And and so I got up with the people at school a week later after the break.
Wait,
like,
whoa. How the fuck did you get home?
My dad came and got me. I called
his dad. Yeah.
Okay. I called from a payphone from the hotel. I called, and my dad had just left Omaha because he was working that night. It was a weeknight. Okay. And so he had to turn around and come back to Omaha and get me. So he had to do like a 3-hour fucking round trip. Yeah. To come get me, right? So
4.5, because home,
roughly,
back home again.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, totally. and my dad's like, my dad was military before that because he was retired. He's like, "Where's your watch?" It's in so and so's car. And he was just like, "You have your wallet?" I'm like, "No." And he was so pissed. I left my shit because I didn't want my watch to get broken in the pit. Didn't want to lose my wallet because I thought I was gonna I didn't fucking mosh. It was fucking frightening. You know what I mean? I wasn't, it was like I stood there and watched the show the whole fucking time, not knowing that it was going to probably be one of the worst nights of my fucking life ever. But it was a great fucking show. And I see these assholes that I rode to the show with in school, and they go, "Oh, we thought you were just going to get a ride home from that with them. So we went ahead and left." The people that you were talking to. And I'm like, "No, you guys were drunk and high, and you fucking left the fucking venue and forgot about me and fucking just went home.
Fuck
So
that.
yeah.
I would have handed out some uppercuts.
Oh, dude, it was just like these guys were like I was a sophomore. These guys were like juniors and seniors and shit, and like, and it was, but I had nobody to punch because there was nobody there. I was fucking. I stood outside the venue until like almost, like 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's the next T-shirt.
There's nobody to punch?
I had nobody to punch.
That's fucking great. That's
okay,
a great idea.
Write that down because you'll know.
There's nobody to punch. What'd you do? Well, there was no one to punch, so I just fucking waited on my dad.
Yep. So yeah, that's my Metallica story.
Fucking thanks, Metallica.
Yeah, no shit. Lars, you cocksucker.
Yeah, I'll just blame them. So.
Dude, Derek and I just got lost on the interstate, so
damn.
Yeah, we just went around and around.
Wasn't nearly that bad, but the weirdest night of my life, I was with Derek.
Was
the Metallica show.
I was super fucking high that night.
Now would be a good time to put in a little snippet of the band is going to make it. that allegedly happened.
Yeah,
allegedly.
Yeah, those are just their stories that people make up.
I felt so bad for John. Like, did you get like? Did you eat? Did you like?
No, he didn't have a wallet or nothing.
Yeah, no.
Fuck.
I think that my dad and I may have stopped off like at a gas station on the way home.
They got a trucker supper on the way home.
Yeah, something like that. But dude, it was terrible. Like my dad had just left his office in Omaha because he commuted back and forth, and he just left.
He probably had a shit day already too.
Oh, dude, I guarantee you because he was a recruiter for ITT Tech at the time, or Universal Technical Institute, UTI, one of the two. But yeah, that was his job, and he drove around, talking. He had to go meet up at kids' houses with their parents and say, hey, your kid's going to be going to this school and this and that, and then you go to the office and have to do whatever the heck he does. But he would basically work a fucking 12 to 15 hour day, more or less, with the travel and everything, and then he had to turn around and get my stupid ass.
Wait, what day of the week was it on? If it's a Friday, this is going to be the most amazing thing.
It was a Wednesday. It was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Oh, so he had to go to work the next day, right?
Probably. Well, no, he had the next day off, which was great. But it was like Wednesday or Thanksgiving's always a Thursday. You know what I mean?
See, I want the visual. I want the mental image of angry Mr. Carter having to go to work the next day and be like, my fucking son.
Oh, yeah, dude, this fucking kid. I swear to God.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure the next day was Thanksgiving, so it was kind of like yeah. So, but my dad would have this thing where he would just sigh very loudly when I disappointed him.
Dad sounds right. Dad noise.
Yeah. Dude, I'd already disappointed him because I was sitting here with like shoulder length long hair, wearing fucking tight black jeans, a fucking bootleg Metallica shirt, and no fucking money in my pocket. No fucking my hoodie was in their fucking car. So it's just like he probably thought he failed as a parent. You know what I mean? It's like this guy has no fucking life skills whatsoever. He does not know how to be prepared for a fucking November night in Nebraska.
Did he even when he got there? This is what I'm picturing. He's coming in. He's fucking stoic as shit. He's pissed. He doesn't say anything except for, "Where's your fucking watch?"
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because he noticed that I didn't have a hoodie on, and then he looked down and saw I didn't have a watch on. And my dad was a platoon sergeant. In the National Guard after being in Vietnam, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so stoic, you nailed it. He was very stoic but stern. Yeah, he was a drill sergeant. that had just retired and was a college recruiter, for his new vocation. So yeah, I mean, I had a drill sergeant to look forward to look at his fucking long-haired idiot son, stranded in fucking Omaha. Actually, hey,
it's fucking making me sweat.
You know what's funny? Today is actually my dad's 75th birthday. My dad turned
right on.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Oh yeah. Sergeant Alfred Carter.
God. I feel like though, like, that's the age you're kind of asking for it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
you're up to no good anyway. This is karma.
Like me and my friends, we weren't bad kids. I mean, Eric Tran, I've been friends with him since 3rd grade, and like, he didn't go. None of my friends that I was tight with, that I grew up in the neighborhood, or any of my friends that I was, we were all growing our hair out and wearing Obituary and fucking Napalm Death t-shirts and shit. It was me with a bunch of fucking random stoners from high school that happened to know who Metallica was. You know what I mean? And I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do anything. I had done nothing illegal, but it's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, but on paper, I sound like a fucking saint, but I was just a dork that wanted to go see Metallica, like,
yeah.
It's okay. So, I mean, that's tragic, and it's obviously scarred you deeply.
I've never seen Metallica since then.
I can't listen to Metallica.
Yeah,
and
that's why I fucking hate Metallica.
There we go.
So this is and Justice for All this is kind of the last album they were a skater band, or
a
thrash band as well.
Yeah.
So is there any kind of, I mean, is it worth diving into? Because whenever I talk to old school Metallica fans, which are going to be Derek's age and a little up, they have a lot of build up, pin up resentment, because they got picked on for having long hair, wearing a jean jacket, and had like a Merciful Fate patch or a Ride the Lightning patch or that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then you get a bunch of tire kickers pick up from, One and the Black Album, and it just feels like a completely different vibe at that point.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Metallica definitely, they influenced so fucking much of, just so much of my day-to-day life because I remember we had a social studies teacher that was really, really cool, and they let us put posters on the back wall, right? So this was in 8th grade, and I put I had a picture of Metallica. I'm assuming it was probably from around the Garage Days era, and they're standing like in front of like a railing, and they got skateboards. Their feet on their skateboards, right? They're wearing like bands, like half cabs, and like just like in and airwalks and stuff like that. With their tight black pants and like sleeveless Sam Hain shirts and stuff like that. So I would look at that picture and go, okay, I'm gonna grow my hair out. I'm gonna wear fucking Vans half cabs. I'm gonna fucking ride Zolak skateboards. I'm gonna find out what the fuck a Sam Hain is. And I'm gonna fucking and it was like So I went all in. I wore black Levi's. I had to cut them up the side and sew them so they would be tapered, right? And I would wear the black sweatbands every day to school. Right. I shaved my head around underneath the hair like Jason Newsted did. I was all the fuck in. My fucking, yeah, dude. Like my freshman sophomore year, black Levi's, black band shirt, sweatbands, Newsted hair.
It's weird because, Carter, you're from a bigger town than what Derek and I were.
No, at the time I was from Denison, Iowa, which is a small rural town. I didn't move to Sioux City, Iowa until my senior year. So I did my whole middle school and high school up to the middle of my senior year in small towns. And I was always driving like an hour to 2 hours away to go see concerts and stuff throughout high school.
But that means you had exposure to it though. You know what I mean?
Through Thrasher magazine and Headbangers Ball. Yeah. That was it.
But like Derek and I, Hartford City is it's still a small town. Mm-hmm. And the weird, Derek because Derek discovered him first before me, and he's 7 years older. Derek didn't run into that. You know what I mean? Because Derek's high school experience was just sort of, I mean, Derek was popular. There's no other word for it. You know, and it's the same thing with me. You know, I was the prom king, you know, my junior year. And like I was in the plays and I did stuff, and it just, I got along with everybody pretty well. So I don't ever, like, I'm hesitant to call myself like a metal kid. I'd say like I was an alt kid, you know, an alternative kid, because, you know, it was just strange for me because I grew up in the 90s. You know, I was in 1996, I was a sophomore in high school, but everyone was listening to Alice in Chains, Soundgarden. We had a lot of death metal fans in my school. So it was Cannibal Corpse, 6 Feet Under, Deicide, Morbid Angel, that sort of stuff. But I was like, you guys, let's listen to Motley Crue. You know, and I was like 4 and 6 years behind, or I'd be like, hey, I got the new Stacy Q album. You know, let's check it out, you guys. So I never ran into that, but I have buddies now that'll tell me about it. It was like fucking hell. You know, the shit you would take for being a metalhead. So I feel kind of feel like I'm a little bit of a charlatan, you know what I mean? Because I kind of hopscotched around, you know, all different kinds of stuff. But I just, Derek and I did you, Derek? Did you run into horse shit with people being a dick about?
No, I don't really ever remember that. I mean, I remember some older guys, like, my experience was different. Like, I was literally friends with everyone. There were, you know how high school gets really cliquey. And when I was in high school, it was really stereotypically cliquey. Like, there were the jocks and the preps and like the stoner kids, but I was friends with everyone all the time. And I don't ever remember trying to like look the part, or I was always into like surfer shit. Like I was a skater, and I had a bunch of skater friends, and I had a couple of skater friends that totally would fit the part and look like they had the Newstead hair and the black jeans. But for me, like, I had Pal Peralto shirts and checkered Vans and like but also I would also have shirts that came from Chess King that were something that you know, like Albie Sure would wear or something like that. But I don't remember if anybody was catching shit, it's because they were being a dick. That's who caught shit. We it was real cliquey, but I don't remember anybody, you know, being hostile towards anybody because they didn't dress the same or they looked different. It's if you were getting shit, it's because you were being a dick and you deserved it.
Because you had a really bad run in. We should probably not say his name. The biology teacher at the high school that both of us went to. You had a really bad run in with him. What was that over?
So that was my friends and I they had signups for this might give it away to anybody that went to school with me. They had signups for the track team on the wall outside of his classroom, and he was the track coach, and especially the cross country kids is who he really, really liked. And so we were all going to sign up just for something to do because I played sports my whole entire life, and I'd never done track, so I thought, well, we'll sign up for track. And I was out there signing my name, and he came out of his classroom, and he said, Lido, what are you doing? And I said, I'm signing up for track. And he said, you can't run track. You're too fucking fat. I lost my fucking mind.
Oh, God.
Yeah, John, listen.
I grabbed this teacher by his throat and threw him up against the wall. I had him pinned up against the wall outside of his classroom, and I'm totally ready to fucking make him eat one. And then another teacher comes bailing out of nowhere and like tackles me. And I tell this other teacher, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill him. I'm gonna kill him. And so this other teacher's like, look, I know he needs to be punched for sure, but I can't let you do that. So this other teacher who was pretty cool, he kind of walked me down the hall, calmed me down, and so we went on. But that was all that was about, is because he didn't. I wasn't one of his track kids, so he didn't want me signing up for it.
If I had a couple bad run-ins with him outside of school.
Yeah, he's
damn.
Well, it goes back to what I just said. He's a dick, and he deserved it. So, fuck that guy.
Fair enough.
Thanks, Metallica.
Yeah.
There's another shared idea right there.
I can't. No, I don't have like a tragic, sort of a Orwellian dystopian night the way that John had with them. You know what I mean? And I don't have like any bad Metallica stories.
Mm.
Other than just watching Lars's drum skills degrade. That's
Well,
that's sad.
You know what? I've had a theory that I really think that Lars was playing. He was kind of playing on albums like Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, and not so much on Injustice, but he was kind of trying to compete with other drummers. You know what I mean? He was into Bathory. He was into a lot of the speed metal that was happening. He was probably a big fan of Filthy Animal, And then I think that like my theory
is he's a huge off the charts Motorhead fan.
Yeah, of course. But yeah. I think that he just got to a point where it's like, well, maybe I'm playing now how I just want to play. And I mean, I don't ever get caught up in like people being like super proficient or playing a challenging song or anything like that. It's just kind of like, just play what the song calls for, you know what I mean? And that's one thing that kind of appealed to me about Metallica, where it was just kind of like, there was always sort of a pop sensibility, even in their more aggressive kind of thrashier stuff. And the way Lars played drums just kind of made sense to me, and then let's say,
it fits. I mean, you're right. It fits the band. Exactly. And I'm not like, I get a reputation for being a snob when it comes to music, you know what I mean? But like, I don't spend a lot of time with Vinyl Thursday. I don't talk about shit I don't like. I only talk about stuff that I'm really excited about. So people don't hear a lot of the nitpicky stuff. I mean, they hear it on here, but I'm not going to call him a bad drummer. Now, if I have an opportunity to make a joke, I'm going to make it.
Yeah, of course. You have
now
to.
that said, I don't think out of the big four, the drummers. So let's say Charlie Benante, Gar from Megadeth, Lombardo, and Ulrich. I do not think he's the best of the bunch for sure, as far as technical ability and composition and playing for the song. Because
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't think he's a bad drummer by any means.
Right.
But when you compare him to outstanding drummers, he's certainly not an outstanding drummer.
Well, that's the thing. That's the sort of question you have to ask is that, well, why does he get made fun of? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why do we pick on him?
I think it's just the Napster thing.
I think, my opinion.
That's what I think too. I think it goes back to the Napster thing. That's when the Let's Bash Lars shit started.
Yes.
Sure.
I mean, he's always been a face for the band, so he's gonna attract a certain amount of negativity. But I do think. And Justice for All those songs are legitimately good songs, in my opinion. Is it a good album? Production loses it for me. Now, that said, how does Lars play on it? I do think, given the progressive sort of twinge that the album has, he missed an opportunity to play a bit more dynamically. And you can see that with Master of Puppets. When you listen to just an overall composition from Master of Puppets and look at something on and Justice for All, it pales in comparison. Every song on Master of Puppets, pound for pound, on every song on And Justice for All. And it's not just because it's a better mixed, better produced album. I think the songs are stronger. I think they were running stuff through a filter and they knew when to limit themselves, especially with these sort of long-winded you know, like Kubla Khan-esque song arrangements and things like that. It's just too much, and they missed an opportunity because none of Lars's playing is as dynamic as James's rhythm playing or Kirk's solos. To me it's a missed opportunity, especially with they captured lightning in a bottle. You listen to Lars's drum performance on Disposable Heroes alone. You can see him at his peak, what he was truly capable of, and he was still in really great shape at that point.
Yeah, I think if you could compare it to Olympic dives and the degree of difficulty.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
His drumming on Master of Puppets was a much higher degree of difficulty than what he did on Injustice, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say we didn't know, right? And someone said, "Hey, the new album from Metallica is called Injustice for All. You know they got a new drummer," and you'd believe them.
Oh, sure.
If you listen to the drumming on Master of Puppets and you listen to the drumming on, it sounds like two different drummers. It really does.
Yep.
It's just the mix. Oh my god.
Yeah, you know what though? Isn't that kind of the recipe though? Starting with Injustice for All, their albums, it was a whole different recipe. Boom, boom, boom. Every album after that was a new recipe and new drumming, new guitar playing, new look. Everything was.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, and I don't really have a problem with that if you think about it. I think what really sort of like fuck Metallica is they were such a driving force in thrash, and then when they evolved, it's like, you know, it's just that kind of deal. But it's like people were shitting on Metallica when they put out Fade to Black. You know what I'm saying? Like there was diehards that were like, "Oh man, you guys sold out because you're doing," or Escape. You know what I mean? People that fucking turned their backs on Metallica when fucking, you know, like, oh, they sold out. And I remember hearing older guys talk about that. I'm like, are you kidding me? What the fuck? You know what I mean? But like these older dudes, guys that were like fucking 10, 15 years older than me, that got into Kill 'Em All when they were listening to Saxon and Angel Witch and shit like that. Sure. And then when they hear an album like you know, Ride the Lightning, and they're like, fuck these sellouts. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you know, so in a weird way, Metallica was always doomed to that.
Yeah, well,
I think their fan base. I'm sorry, their fan base. They were one of those bands that had absolutely diehard, rabid fans. And then when you come in and you don't give them what you've been feeding them, I think, you know, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. To a certain degree.
Yeah, I mean, you get that. It happens with any band. I think I'm such a huge Iron Maiden fan, but Jesus Christ, some of the Maiden fans are fucking insufferable. You know, and it's just that, you know, doesn't matter what it is. If it's Maiden, I'm in. You know, you see, well, how'd that Blaze Bayley thing go for you? You know, it's which is sad because Blaze Bayley is a good vocalist. He's just not a good Iron Maiden vocalist. But I'm gonna get this out because I'm thinking of it. The fucking shitsters that constantly say that Paul Di'Anno couldn't hold a candle to Bruce Dickinson. You guys are fucks. There's no other word for it. Paul Di'Anno was fucking smoking on those first two albums, Killers especially. His highs, his falsetto, his sometimes when he goes to a lower register. I just get tired of hearing people shit on Paul Di'Anno. It really, really bothers me.
So much of that comes from people thinking that they have to do it. Like there's this dildo that I work with that he has to shit on everything by Metallica that they've done since the Black Album just because of the hair thing. And I'm like, can you get over the fact that they cut their fucking hair? What? Was it something I said, or
no? It was just how nonchalantly you said this fucking dildo I work with.
Well, I mean, it's just he's a guy that his opinion of all music is based on what he's told to think of something that they've done. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah, I know.
This cool dude turned his back on Metallica for reasons A, B, and C. So I'm going to cite those reasons, and I'm going to hold on. I'm like, hey, but have you heard the fucking, the guy's like super into, he likes COC, or he likes fucking Crowbar. I say, hey, have you heard the song 2x4? It's a pretty heavy fucking Crowbar-ish COC type song, If you really want to split hairs and go, hey, they cut their hair on Load, but there's some heavy songs on there, being devil's advocate, of course, right? But this guy, he'll say what you're supposed to, if you're between the ages of 40 and 45, you're supposed to say you dislike Metallica because of this reason. But you can't think for your fucking self. Why don't you just go, hey, I'm going to listen to this subjectively and go, you know what? It's not Master of Puppets, but it's a good out. It's well written.
Mm-hmm.
And in the case of well written and well performed, but in the case of And Justice for All, it's like, yeah, these are strong ass songs, but why the fuck did they mix it like that? Yeah, man, they fucking mixed the bass out. It sucks. Okay,
Yeah, but
I found a reason to hate them now. I'm gonna hang my fucking hat on that.
So Carter, you and I are picky, and we both fucking love Bathory.
Mm-hmm.
We both like Venom a lot. We love the early Accept catalog.
I like the first 3 Bathory albums and the first 3 Venom albums.
I can't know you anymore.
Oh, come on. Everything post fucking Under the Sign of the Black Mark is like, eh.
You can fucking go to hell. You can go to hell.
You can ride to Nordland. Get on your horse and go to Nordland.
Open ride over Nordland. Right?
But yeah, I know.
No. Okay. So we have an appreciation for lo-fi when it comes to metal, Bathory, just black metal in general, obviously. And both of us are, steeped in punk rock, and production quality isn't, high quality isn't always the most important thing. It's more about attitude a lot of the time. Black metal, it's more about atmosphere, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So does Injustice for All bum me out because I think it's a terrible album, or does it bum me out because I think the production is bad? But if I think the production is bad, how come I can listen to Black Flag? You know what I mean? So what's the, for lack of a better term, the trigger? That flicks my switch, or your switch, you know what I mean? But you love the album, you love it, but I can't get past the production of it. So what it makes me think is that relative to the rest of the Metallica catalog is where my frustration comes from. Because if this album was Merciful Fate, I'm good.
I see what you're saying.
So it's just interesting because we have our own sort of like internal bias in that regard. So realistically, I don't necessarily, it's the production's part of it, but I think more so the reason I dislike this album so much is because I'm such a huge Jason fan.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, no,
it's the psychology of being a Metallica fan, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, but
yeah, well, yeah. Okay, like what you said about liking things that are kind of lo-fi and whatever. Like to me, it was like when I first heard it and it sounded weird. I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is what it's supposed to sound like this. It evoked kind of a really dry, stark, cold feeling, and I'm like, okay, I get it. So when I first heard it, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get what they're trying to do, and I'll be the first person to admit that I didn't know for years, until years after the album came out, that the bass was mixed out, because I wasn't a musician at the time, and I thought, me too. You know what I mean? I was none the wiser. I thought maybe he was playing so in the pocket behind James's guitar that he wasn't doing any do over anything, or say James is doing a gallop, he's doing like a bonk 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 bonk, you know what I mean, like Cliff used to do, you know what I mean? So I thought they were just, the bass and guitar were such a lockstep, because I was hearing on the chugs. So I'm like, okay, yeah, there's got to be bass there. Yeah, sure, there's bass there. Then I find out years later they mixed the bass out, and went back and listened to it. I'm like, fuck, you're right.
It's barely there, barely.
Yeah.
So Derek, it didn't register with you either?
No, because just what John said, I thought that's the way it was supposed to sound. I didn't. that was my first exposure. I'm like, this is what Metallica sounds like. And I didn't, when I went back and I listened to Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, they for sure sounded great, better. But I still, even at that point, I didn't know that the bass was missing. I thought that's how this one sounded.
Yeah. Same.
And I've never been a bass player. And to me, Lars's drums, I like Lars's drums. I think I like the way they sound. They're big and boomy, and they kind of took the place of what maybe the bass that wasn't there should have been there. But I liked it, and I didn't know there was anything wrong until obviously much later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because the thing is,
it's like the perfect metal album for a Sleater Kinney fan. You know, John's gonna get that joke.
Yeah, you know what? Okay,
who the fuck is Sleater Kinney?
They're an all girl band. They're two guitarists and a drummer, no bass player.
Yeah. Oh well, they were part of that whole Riot Girl thing or whatever. And the guitar player singer, she actually is on Portlandia.
Yeah, it's Carrie from Portlandia.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't think about that. They did have two guitars and whatever. But like I said, I really can't think back to when it was first shown to me and told to me that there was no bass. I don't know. I don't know. At one point in time, I knew that there was no bass in it. I honestly can't remember.
I don't think that happened until the first that I remember hearing about it is when Jason finally decided to leave the band. That's when I remember I started to hear about that stuff.
I was dialed in immediately, but I'm more.
But you're a bass player. You have been.
Well, yeah. Since I was a kid, I started playing when I was.
Yeah. So it's just like me. When I started by playing the drums, and so with everything I listen to, I hear the drums before I hear anything else, and that's why, like, you were like, hey, I can't pick up the bass on this. Where the fuck's the bass at?
Yeah, true. I remember it's such a missed opportunity, in my opinion. This could have been a much stronger album.
Yeah.
I think so, but don't you think that at this point in history or the time, this makes that album stand out? I mean, it's a glass half full kind of thing. The bass is gone, and what a tragedy, and it could have been this much better. But also, it makes this album kind of iconic in a way that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. When Oz, or it wasn't Ozzy, it was Sharon. When Sharon re-released the Ozzy albums with Lee Kerslake and Bob Daisley on it, and she had I think Mike Borden and Rob Trujillo retrack the drums and bass.
That's what I heard.
I'm not 100% that it was Mike and Rob though, so don't quote me on that. But like, I remember it was fucking insulting. Just like, why would you do that? And it was to squeeze them out of a performance royalty, and it's just I would, if you change, no, you know what? Fuck this album. fuck this album. And I'm not going to try to make some stupid leap of faith to try and make it right. No, I don't listen to this album as it is. I listen to the album with that chubby dude playing bass all over the top of it, and it's fucking great.
No, it fucking sounds garbagey. I hate it. I listened to that bullshit all week after you sent me that, and it just does not fucking sound right. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like the only guy they talked to was the bass player, and he said, hey, make sure you fucking turn me up so you can't hear anything else. That's what it fucking sounds like.
You know what? I mean, yeah, because you're listening for it, and they made it a point to let you know that, hey, this has bass on it now. Yeah. But the way that I listen to stuff, I don't get as fired up as Dustin does. It's like I take an album for I take it for what it is. Okay, this is the album without the bass. Okay, do I like it? Yeah, I like it.
No, it's not. No. You fucking shitster. It's not. This is not the album without the bass. This is the album. There's no extra qualifier attached to it. This is the album. A big piece of shit.
It's not a piece of shit.
Learn to accept the things that you can change. Or wait, what is it?
Yeah. Accept the things that you cannot change.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I wouldn't get so upset. If I had the ability to fucking change it, yeah, I'd do it. You know what I mean? I'd fucking, you know, I've been playing bass for years. I could jump in there and fucking doodly do for him, you know, but whatever, you know, but I can't.
Such a missed opportunity.
I got to listen to woo, 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 woo.
There is so much overtone on the album. Like, and I can see what's his name? Thompson, the guy mixing it going, what is that? You know, like, and Lars going, it's fine.
Don't worry about it.
It's fine. It's fine.
Actually,
from Denmark? What? I was going to say, do you want a waffle? But that's Belgium. Danish. Do you want a Danish?
Do you want some hash? Smoke some hash?
Yeah.
I
have a cheese Danish that says you didn't hear that overtone.
I have a King Diamond bootleg. That's the only thing I can think of from Denmark.
That's Danish, right?
Yeah. You know, but there's actually a really cool. Well, I don't know if it'd be cool, but interesting stories about the making of the one video, and they were in a particular type of headspace all around at that time, and I mean there was times when they wanted to, like, you know, put clips from the movie in there and stuff, and James was like, "What the fuck is this?" And the guy's like, "It's what you asked for." You know what I mean? So it's just it's that they were in a particular type of headspace. So to me, I'm not saying it's all good, but it makes sense that shit was weird.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's justified in how, like, dysfunctional the band probably was at that time. But yeah, okay. So we got to look at comments. But before we look at comments, we have to talk about Johnny Got His Gun.
These shutters are to be closed at all times. What's he saying?
He says, kill me. Over and over again. Kill me.
Tell him we'll do everything we can to make him comfortable. For now, he needs rest. Tell him we'll give him a sedative and come back later. And try to get his name. You're not to mention what has happened here to anyone. I'll hold you collectively responsible for any breach. If new orders are received in view of the new situation which has developed, you'll be notified. Well?
He won't wait for an answer. All he says is, kill me, kill me, kill me.
Don't you have some message for him, Padre? You could at least tell him to put his faith in God, couldn't you?
I'll pray for him for the rest of my days. But I will not risk testing his faith against your stupidity.
Well, you're a hell of a priest, aren't you?
He's the product of your profession, not mine.
So have either of you watched it?
No.
I
just
saw
the clips in the video.
Okay.
Like a long ass time ago, like it was on either Turner Classic Movies or A&E when they used to play movies,
Sure.
like back in the 90s. And I remember going, "Oh, that's the movie with, you know, clips from the one video."
Mm-hmm.
And I watched a little bit of it, and the movie was just so boring. It had that Elephant Man vibe to it, where it was just kind of like, okay, it's just kind of just this stark sort of almost kind of artsy kind of movie, but yet it wasn't artsy, you know. It was just weird. You know what I'm saying? It was just kind of like, you know, I mean, I'm sure the backstory is kind of interesting, but I wasn't feeling the movie.
Okay,
you know, so.
All right. So the short version is that the one video has clips and audio from the movie Johnny Got His Gun.
Mm-hmm.
So spoiler alert. Okay, so a kid goes to war, gets hit with a mortar or a bomb or something, loses arms, legs, the ability to speak, the ability to hear, and yeah, that's it. So and no vision. He loses his vision as well. So he's taken back to war hospital. I don't know, MASH, whatever it is. And it's just it's him dealing with that situation with the nurse coming and going, the doctors coming and going, and a bunch of the movie is him
Thinking.
Dreaming.
It's just kind of inside his own head, the thoughts that he's having.
Yes, yeah. And there's one scene where in a dream he meets Jesus. And he says, this is what's going, this is the situation I'm in. And Jesus says, well, leave the situation. He said, but I don't have legs. He said, well, okay, well then maybe it'd be a good opportunity to talk about it with the people around you. I don't have a mouth. And Donald Sutherland plays Jesus in the movie, which is really interesting. So it's like Donald Sutherland pre-Animal House. So he's pretty young. And it's just this scene with him talking to Jesus, and he's just whittling away the options that he doesn't have because he's lost the vast majority of his functions. And so what he ends up doing is he remembers his dad teaching him Morse code. So he starts Morse code on the pillow, and it gets the nurse's attention, and he's just tapping out "kill me" over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And as intense and fucking horrifying as the video alone is, that movie, good God. It's as striking as like A Clockwork Orange was, if that tells you anything. I remember the first time I watched A Clockwork Orange, and good Lord, when you're 15, 16 and you're watching that movie for the first time, that movie is painful to get through. And it's painful because they made such a good movie. Now, it's an art house thing. It's got an avant-garde quality. Some of the acting isn't the best, and it's sort of an independent movie, sort of artsy fartsy thing. So there's that element to it. But good Lord,
do you think that how like Kirk Hammett was always been, he was like a big movie buff? Do you think that like he might have brought that movie into
I don't know. I had always heard that it was emanating from James.
Okay.
Because I think he had the co-write on it was just Lars and James. So that generally means it's a James lyric.
Okay.
So, but I remember how profoundly that video impacted me at that age. So we're talking, I'm like 8, 9, 10 years old. So that puts Derek at like 16, 17 years old. And I remember Derek, I remember we were standing in a living room and it came on one day and both of us were just
glued,
transfixed on it. Like, this is fucking heavy. This is extremely fucking heavy. But if you get an opportunity, go watch Johnny Got His Gun. It's don't not like a date night movie. Don't do that. And watch it with the sun up. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah. It's one of those ones that you need a break afterwards.
Yeah. Go take a walk.
Yeah.
Have a cup of tea, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So. Or when it's over, you just like, I need to go watch Animaniacs for about an hour.
Yeah, man. It's like I've been binging Breaking Bad, and I'm finally getting around to watch it, and I'm into almost to the end of the third season. And I have to like watch like stupid shit like for a couple days afterwards.
Yeah, because it just gets too heavy. It just gets too fucking heavy, and you need a break.
Oh man, that movie.
Well, see, and that's just the thing. I like you said, you stood there in front of the TV and watched the video. I remember doing the same thing. Like when I first saw it. Like I remember when they had the world premiere on Headbangers Ball, and they announced it, and I'm like, because the way it was arranged in my living room was like there was like the entertainment center that was kind of like, I live in one of those houses where like you walk up the stairs, you know what I mean, and our entertainment center was right there by the staircase, right? We had a couch that was kind of like adjacent to it, and so I sat on the edge of the couch, like the arm of the couch, and just watched it, and I'm just like, holy shit! Every little fucking bit of it, the movie clips, what what shirt, Lars was wearing a white and Justice for All t-shirt, and the rest of the band was wearing, black shirts, you know what I'm saying? And just, what guitar, James was playing, what was written on the little sticker, on there, just absorbing it was the most intense video I'd ever fucking seen. It was the first time I'd ever seen a video for heavy metal music. You know what I mean? Like, it was just because Headbangers Ball, for the most part, didn't really show much thrash oriented stuff up until that point.
Yeah.
You might have seen like, Testament Over the Wall, like once every, in a blue moon, you might see Peace
Slayer's
Cells.
Seasons in the Abyss.
Yeah. Was Seasons in the Abyss before or after? Seasons in the Abyss was like,
it's 90. I think it's 92.
1990, 91. Yeah. But I mean, I hadn't seen, and I'd maybe seen the Toxic Waltz video, or fucking like, Elimination by Overkill or something. But this was on a whole nother level. It was dark and cold,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or Jason pantomiming something that wasn't in the music.
Yeah, perhaps. Mm-hmm. It's all we really could do.
Just real quick. We're gonna look at the comments, but real quick, just heads up, Zetro, from Exodus, his podcast. No shit, he did a 2-hour episode with Rob Dukes.
No, okay.
Not too long ago. So if you guys get an opportunity, go check that out. It's weird to see two of Exodus singers, talking to each other. It was just really strange.
Yeah. It's,
Paul Bailoff, Paul Bailoff's, passed away, but yeah.
Zetro's Toxic Vault, I believe it's called.
Yep. Yeah. It's really, really good. All right. You guys want to look at some comments?
Sure.
It's time to look at some comments.
Derek, if you will, reference the Music the Lifeblood chat betwixt the three gents that make Music the Lifeblood go. You will see that I've scoured the dirty depths of the YouTube comment section, and I've found the worst that humanity has to offer on assorted Metallica YouTube videos. First comment, Derek.
This is from Roberto Medina. Metallica was ahead of their time creating karaoke for bass players. That's the one that cracked me up initially.
That's under a really good, I think Loudwire did it. It's under a really good interview with the guy that mixed the album.
Yeah. Yep.
He kind of looks like Rick Allen from Def Leppard.
A little bit, yeah. Just a much larger version.
He just called him fat. Hashtag body shaming.
All right,
next one.
Right? Let's go to the next one. This comment comes from Alfred the Great, King of Wessex.
Good name.
To summarize the video, quote, everything was great. 1, but Lars. 2, then Lars. 3, so Lars.
Yeah. I don't remember reading that one. I don't remember it. All right, what's the next one?
That last one was from that same interview. This one seems to be from something different. From He Fucking Left the Band. The short answer, Lars. The long answer, Lars Ulrich.
He fucking left the band. I think that's a some kind of monster reference, right? When Lars was losing his shit about Jason quitting the band. He fucking left the band.
Yeah, he fucking. All right, next one from that same interview again. Marco McNamara. And Justice for All? More like, and just it for Lars.
Oh.
I don't even remember getting that one. That's awesome.
Yeah, more like adjust it for Lars. That was great.
That's awesome. And then I see a great picture of Don Dokken, right?
Yes. Yeah, it is a fantastic picture of Don Dokken. His makeup is fantastic.
He looks So supple. So
And it looks like he might have borrowed a bit of jewelry from Mr. T as well.
what?
He's got some gold around his neck there.
That's awesome.
All
All right.
right. Next comment from Ryan Lita Gaga.
Is this on the one video?
I believe so. Yeah, it looks like the picture of they had like the masked helmet thing over his head when he was laying there.
Okay.
When you take off the arms, and legs off your Lego minifigures, this is what plays in their heads. How does it feel, you monster?
Take up my arms. Take up my legs. Take up my John, I don't think John ever likes this bit because he always does that tight-lipped.
Well, do you know what bothers me is the fucking fact that I'm using my phone to do this and I can't look at the goddamn comments and join in. So that's my problem.
Right. Yep.
Well, just describe it to him, Derek.
Okay. What we're looking at is a square, looks like about 4x4.
Okay. Is there text? Are there images with people performing?
Yeah. There's a small photo of looks like a snip from the one video.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm picturing it now.
Okay. And below that, the word comments 61K.
Sure. Okay.
And then looks like some kind of icon of you remember those mad balls that they made with the little monster faces and stuff?
Yes, I'm seeing a circle with a person in the middle of it, and and a white field with black lettering.
The face that John just made. You get in Superbad when McLovin finally gets it with the girl, and he goes, it's in. And that's what John's face just looked like.
Well, we just did a remote viewing, like they do on the paranormal shows. We did a remote viewing. Yeah, I was able to, I was able to so that worked.
Hey, John, what about now? Can you see what I'm seeing?
You've got on the side. There's a series of videos on the side that may or may not pertain to the artist that you and then now there's a commercial asking you to wait 5 seconds for the ad.
Perfect.
See, you don't even need the pictures. You're good.
Click ad. Yeah. Okay. Now.
Okay.
Keep
The next comment looks like it's from X Sniper Pro, and it's from the one video where he's just laying there, and it says, "This is what action figures must feel like inside the package."
Shit.
Next one, Chronio Cactus. Some people, it says some people. Lars sucks. Lars plays the drums in Morse code, saying, "Kill me just like the soldier."
Oh damn!
That was kind of harsh.
Hey.
All right, I think this is the last one.
Okay.
Alexi, fun fact: one was said once in the whole song.
Ooh. Now the world is gone. I'm just one. Yeah.
Yep, I'm just one. That's it.
Well, that's progressive metal for you, though. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of us. Was it the best title of the song?
No way.
Probably not.
What would you have called it?
Take my arms, take my legs, take my arms.
Yeah. Where are my limbs?
Yeah.
Or kill me. Could have been
kill me.
I can't remember anything.
SOS, help me.
Yeah. Or
that's morbid. That's really morbid.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So last thing before we hang this up. Okay. So 1988, and Justice for All. 1988. So far, so good. So what? Who wins?
I'm gonna say Justice.
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, it wasn't a very so far so good. So what wasn't a very strong album, but it wasn't a bad album. I actually listened to there's a podcast that's I think it's by Metal Edge magazine, if you can believe that. It's called Another Effin' Podcast, and they just had a show where they compared Rust in Peace to And Justice for All, and they had David Ellefson was on there, the new singer for Queensryche was on there, and a few different people, and they went like track for track, and David Ellefson was talking about his process with Rust in Peace and his perspective on And Justice for All, and he was yeah, I was a Metallica fan, when we were doing that. So I don't know why they picked those two albums, because I guess they were 2 years apart. Wasn't Rust in Peace 1990?
Yeah, I think Rust in Peace is 90.
Yeah,
I think I might be wrong though.
What's funny was
better comparison seemed like a better match would be Rust in Peace and the Black Album. I think
I would say Euthanasia in the Black Album,
or a Countdown in the Black
Oh
Album.
yeah, Countdown. Yeah, actually, yeah. My son first heard he heard Sweating Bullets for the first time yesterday. You know what I mean? Because we were watching like a mix of like thrash videos and stuff, and he never heard that era of Megadeth. And he dug it. And I remember like me not liking it because I thought that it was their attempt to try to be kind of like the Black Album, more mid tempo rocked out stuff. But one thing that I heard about And Justice for All, I've actually heard this on a couple different podcasts, and I've read it that before And Justice for All came out, Agnostic Front had the album called Liberty and Justice for All, or Liberty and Justice. Anyway. And or ... Liberty and Justice. Anyway, the guys in Metallica were big Agnostic Front fans. They would go to CBGBs and see them. They were fans of thrash and hardcore and whatnot. And there's a story that Kirk and James were hanging out talking to Roger Moret and Vinny Stigma, and they're like, what's the name of your new album? They're like, Liberty and Justice. And then not even, a year later, Metallica comes out with And Justice for All. And so that's always kind of been one of those things where like people have thought that Metallica took that idea and that name from Agnostic Front. So it's some folklore, you know what I mean? Something to kind of, yeah. But it sort of makes sense because Metallica, before they became huge, when one came out, they were part of that whole crossover thrash, hardcore kind of like skater music scene. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So they did shows with, with the Crumbsuckers and SOD and Agnostic Front, and all those bands.
There's no other word for it. They were a skater band.
Yeah, I could see that. Well,
they were absolutely a skater band.
Suicidal Tendencies as well was considered that because people are, they're not a punk band, they're not a thrash band, their fans are all skateboarders. You know what I mean? And dude, the first time I ever saw the album cover for And Justice for All was an interview with skater Jeff Grosso in Thrasher magazine, where he's standing in front of his record collection, and there's a picture of it. He's got And Justice for All, kind of how I have it up here, sitting on a thing, and I'm like, oh, what is that? And then I find out the new Metallica album, yada yada yada. So it's just like, okay, and like I said before, I had that poster of Metallica where they're all standing posing with skateboards and shit. So they're very much embraced by the skateboard crowd.
Yeah, the underground stuff too. They played a lot of shows with Sam Hain and Danzig too. So I remember there's those pictures of Sam Hain hanging out with Metallica when they were at Market Square Arena here in Indianapolis. They're standing like Sam Hain's in front of the back of a semi, and James is making a weird pose and stuff. So it's interesting that sort of like the 4 degrees of separation of. Yeah,
I've seen that where like the guys in Sam Hain, the London, and they got their hair down in front of their face, and like and like James is like this. Like, yeah, that's a classic picture.
Yeah, it's fucking cool. It's a cool picture.
Eerie Vaughn is like a foot taller than James Hetfield.
Well, like I mean, Eerie's a big dude too, but James is very kind of long-armed and gangly. But
yeah.
All right, so it's time to wrap this one up.
Okay.
So, real quick, favorite song, John?
I would probably say Shortest Straw.
Okay, Derek.
Shortest Straw or Harvester of Sorrow.
Okay, I'm Frayed Ends of Sanity.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, John, you popped off. You popped back on.
Hey, I can see John.
How does that happen? That's weird.
Yeah, right
All
in
right.
the last 2 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, the last 2 minutes of the fucking show, I can finally see John.
I kind of think that we've kind of proven that, like, just like we were saying earlier, it's an album that, like, I kind of stepped away from for a long time, and you know, but it's fun to revisit, though, you know. So
Yeah,
The Disposable Heroes is still the greatest song they've ever written.
Battery's my favorite.
Battery's good.
It is.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Cool, man.
All right, that's another episode of Music the Lifeblood's Conversations from the Pit. Rapping Music the Lifeblood. Something old.
Something new.
What in the fuck are you listening to?
Apparently not this album, because we didn't know shit.
We ruined
It's been a while. It's been a while.
It's a good thing we know what we're talking about.
And that's why we're so successful.
You know that song that goes
Yeah, that's how I figured it out.
Yeah, that's what we sounded like.
All right, bye.
Bye. Whatever fucking song. Do you see what I see? Truth is an offense. What fucking song is that? Like,
That's the Chugga song. Chugga, 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 chugga.
Yeah, that's Harvester of Sorrow, isn't it?
No, that's Eye of the Beholder.
Eye of the Beholder.
It is.
We just had like an hour and a half conversation about this. Now everybody's finding out we don't know the damn titles of the songs.
You know what's hilarious is,
We don't,
honestly,
though.
I'm not gonna lie. That
album's one song.
Yep.
That lasts a fucking hour and a half.
You're 100% right. Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
I just like Frayed Ends of Sanity. Ba-da, 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 ba 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 ba. Oh, we oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But that fucking whatever song, that fucking one riff, that Blackened. Is it Blackened?
It's not Blackened. No,
No, it's so not Blackened.
Is that even a Metallica song?